Welcome back, everybody. I am joined now by Sean Murray from Hello Games. No Man's Sky. Hi, dude. It's good to see you. This was crazy. Your game popped up at the very end of the press conference, and I think just kind of blew everybody away.
Oh, thank you.
It left a lot of impressions with people. I think there are a lot of questions. Can you give us the encapsulated version of what No Man's Sky is?
The short version.
The short version, and then we'll expand from there, like the crazy universe that you've made.
The short version is quite difficult. It doesn't really lend itself to, the 7-second description. But it's a science fiction game. That's how I think of it in my mind. Everything else comes from that, right? So a lot of people will pick up on procedural stuff and the infinite universe and stuff like that. But as a game, like minute to minute, second to second playing it, it's sci-fi, It's the sci-fi I love, right? Which is not really the sci-fi that's in games generally.
Well, sci-fi now tends to mean kind of a very high action sci-fi.
Right.
And it feels like you guys are going much more for that sort of, stranger in a strange world, right? Kind of walking around alone, trying to figure things out.
Yeah, sci-fi for me is like the frontier, like the final frontier, to just be really cheesy, right? But the kind of unknown, like what's out there. And I think sci-fi at the moment in games, films, stuff like that, it's making a comeback, but it's generally like today's war, but just with lasers or something like that. It's just very, it's very much just almost like science fantasy. It's like future war basically, and that's not what we are.
So let's talk about this just a little bit in terms of the nuts and bolts here.
Okay.
So this is a procedurally generated universe.
Okay.
Right, and everybody will be playing in the same universe. It's a random seed, but everybody shares the same random seed. Sort of like almost like a Minecraft map or something like that, right? But all of these planets obey these natural laws, right? So, tell me about some of the different things that we will find when we visit these planets.
Well, in terms of ecology, almost anything's possible. Right, the type of creatures that you see, we almost don't really know what's out there. The kind of environments that you might find, it's really, it's not random, it's not chaotic, but it is procedural. It's it's possible to find something unique that will really surprise me that I didn't know would exist.
When we talked previously, you had said that you took certain laws of the universe of our universe into effect. So if a planet is too far or too close to the sun, there's just no life there.
Right.
There may be liquid, but it may not be water.
Yeah.
Things like that.
So, even in terms of how we build it, we build these kind of simple rules. Okay, so water creates atmosphere, a certain type of atmosphere. That atmosphere and the contents of the water affects the moisture that's in the atmosphere. Then that might change the color of the sky and determine that. It'll determine the weather. It will determine what kind of life grows there. So something that's really simple can create these kind of seemingly emergent, chaotic kind of systems, right?
So you build this giant universe, you have these systems, right? But we are still a player of the game.
Yeah.
So what are we doing as we're traveling from planet to planet?
So this is a really key thing. And we have arguments about this all the time, okay? When we're choosing these rules, we're choosing gameplay always over what's scientifically true, kind of thing, right? Because otherwise, it's just some kind of tech demo, right?
Right.
So there are key kind of gameplay elements to it. Something that we showed, or at least tried to show at E3 last night, was that this isn't an ambient universe. This isn't something you just wander around and look at trees and to kind of breathe it in.
Yeah.
There is danger everywhere. So the creatures are dangerous, the ecology. But more than that, in space, there are friends, you know, like the wingmen who fly beside you. There are enemies who are attacking those freighters. But in terms of gameplay systems, this is a universe, and you make your own gameplay within that, right? So those freighters, I could have started attacking them, and I would have gotten a reward for, you know, blowing one of them up. I also would have gotten a reward for destroying all the attackers, right? And that would be effectively a monetary reward, which will help me upgrade my ship or upgrade my weapon or my suit. And that's kind of a core game loop, but nobody is telling you, you know, on a planet, you don't find a guy who's just like, there will be some freighters here, go and protect them, and I will give you 5 gold. We like abhor the idea of that. We don't like the idea of levels, of scripted sequences, of quests, of, you know, I have lost my 5 pieces of amulet and my 3 space chickens or whatever.
Go kill 5 dinosaurs.
Yeah.
But you could kill a dinosaur.
But you could, and you could kill 5 dinosaurs.
That's great. I would love to. So these wingmen that we see, everybody's sharing a common seed, everybody's sharing a common universe. Are these wingmen other players? How much interaction is there with other people playing No Man's Sky?
Those were AI, those wingmen. But you could encounter other players. The reality is, the likelihood of that is tiny, basically. What we're dealing with is planet-sized planets. You know, so even just one planet, if 1 million of us played, we would still be really far apart, right? So scale that up to a universe, it's actually really unlikely that you and I are going to meet. There are elements where you will get crossover and interaction from other players, but that's not what this game is about. We're like, some people think it's an MMO, we're the opposite of an MMO. Right, we're doing the worst thing possible. We're taking all the players who play, and we're like flinging them across the universe, just like, scattering them.
I dare you to play together.
Yeah.
I dare you to fly your ship to your friend's ship if you can.
But you can interact, and you can interact in significant ways. But that's not what's core to the game.
And you were telling me one of these ways that players kind of passively interact with each other is in the trailer that you showed, if you fly onto a planet that another player has been to, it tells you who found that planet first. Right.
And you see that in the gameplay we showed yesterday, that you get to discover not just planets, but like lakes, mountains, rivers, whatever, but also resource seams or space stations or certain trading routes or whatever, and you can then discover them, choose to upload them, or maybe keep that information to yourself.
So you could, after you discover a planet, share that information, and then it goes on to every other player in the game's map.
Yeah, and when you start off, if you were the, you know, which I hope you will be, the very first person to play, right? If you're first in, you'll bring up your map, and there will be no information. You will be able to see all the planets, all the stars, everything, and zoom right into them, but it will just say unknown. And then as more and more people play, which we kind of hope they will, that will begin to get populated. And people will be perhaps attracted to places that have been discovered. They'll think, oh, I see a trade route, I see hospitable planets over here, I'm going to go there. But some people will be kind of lone wolves, like frontiersmen, and they will say, I will go nowhere near that.
Yeah.
I'm going over here. Nothing has been explored over here. This is the great unknown, and people will charge towards that.
So let's say I discover a planet, I'm the first guy to land on this planet with my ship, and I just tear into that hillside there. I just blow away the entire hillside of the planet. And then you see it on your star map and you come,
Right.
What happens to that hillside when you show up?
Okay, so good question. We want persistence, but we can't have persistence of everything, right? So we have persistence of things that are significant. So if I shoot a bird, then we don't feel the need to share that with everyone. Okay. But it is saved locally. And,
I don't get to walk up to the bird on the ground and it says bird killed by.
Right.
Okay.
But that's locally stored, and that bird is dead forever on your machine, right? You've done that, you horrible person.
Right.
And I know you will.
The dinosaurs were fine, but you're angry about
make
a
them
bird.
extinct.
I got it.
Okay, but if you do something of significance, maybe you take out a space station or a fleet or something like that, right? Or just desecrate a planet, take away all its resources, whatever. Then we might think that's significant and we might share that. And then that would be the same for everyone.
I could just fly around trolling people on literally a universal scale. I could really spend all my time finding all the cool stuff and then just blowing it away, right?
Why does your mind always go towards trolling?
I'm a terrible person, Sean. I'm a terrible person, and I feel like maybe you're giving me too much power.
This is all we ever talk about.
I know! And I'm into it.
How can I really annoy people and make this game terrible?
Tell me how to poison an ocean in your game.
Instantly, all I'm thinking is, must write system to not allow Anthony to poison an ocean.
So I feel like this has come quite a long way. There's no ocean poisoning system yet.
No.
But it's obviously come a long way since that first trailer you guys showed. Do you have a timeline for a release date for No Man's Sky?
We do, but we haven't shared it yet. And
you guys are real picky and choosy with information, in and out of the game.
No, it's like we're this super small team, and we're making this ridiculously ambitious game. And all we're going to do if we tell people when it's out is probably disappoint them. So when we know for sure, then we will announce it. And until then, we'll keep our stupid mouths shut.
And if people want to keep up with the game, where can they go?
I guess they could follow me on Twitter, Anthony. I hardly ever say anything.
I saw you join Twitter. I was very proud of you. That's just at No Man's Sky, yeah?
Yeah, right. They can go to our website, whatever, nomanssky.com.
PlayStation